Yo, what is up, everybody, and welcome back. Here we are, episode 3. It's a beautiful day out, and as you can see, today we are going to finally be laying paint. So if you remember in the last one, we spent all the time stripping the frame, filling in those dents, and basically doing all of the prep work to get it ready. We're going to start off with cleaning the frame, so degreasing the whole thing down. And then we're going to lay down some primer. Then it's time to lay down the color, and then hopefully at the end of this video we get to build up the bike too. So very stoked for today. It's just awesome because it's like the whole project's finally starting to come together and become real. For a while it was just like an idea in my head, and now here we are, we're about to lay paint, we've got the parts in, we've got all these pieces of the puzzle, and now it's just time to put them all together. And yeah, I can't wait for it. So let's get right to it. So the first step is to take some water and basically clean off the frame. I sanded the frame down, so I wanted to make sure that I got rid of any of the residue or anything like that. I also got this Duplicolor Automotive Prep. It's basically a multi-purpose degreaser. This might be a little bit of overkill, but I wanted to make sure that I got any oil that was on my fingertips out of the frame. And I also just wanted an extra layer of insurance that I was getting everything off to get the maximum amount of adhesion for the primer and the coats to come. Okay, and now it's time to get started. Right here I have a scratch fill primer. I'm hoping that it'll fill in some of those scratches on the rear triangle. And yeah, I basically just shake the can away, and you'll see that I quickly learned my lesson that I should have worn a mask. I don't know what I was thinking. I just had so many things going through my mind trying to film this and then also paint. So yeah, I highly recommend that you wear a mask. As you can see, I'm a little bit sporadic, but I'm basically using the primer as a chance to learn how the rattle can sprays and like basically learn how to do this whole process, because after all the primer's done, I'm going to be sanding it down anyways. So it doesn't really matter if you mess up here. This was pretty much the time that I was taking to learn everything and get comfortable with actually spraying the frame. And here we are back for the second coat. As you can see, I learned my lesson and we have the mask this time. And yeah, I'm just trying to hit any areas that I missed and land the primer pretty thick on this coat. And I pretty much use all that I've got in the can. And here's what we got. Primer is laid. Just a little close up just so you can get the idea of what it looks like with the primer. And now that all the primer's done, the next thing to do is to sand down the primer itself. I don't know the exact technical reason for why painters do this, but from my understanding, it helps with paint adhesion and just gives the paint a better surface to stick to. And then also, this is a method to get rid of any mistakes that you had in case you sprayed too much in one area or whatever it is. But yeah, I pretty much checked all the spots and everything had even coverage and was good to go. So sanding it down just to give the paint the best possible platform to stick to. And hopefully it leads to a high quality paint job that'll last for quite a while. And now's the moment that we've all been waiting for. I went with this copper metallic flake for the main color. Not gonna lie, I was pretty nervous to start laying color, as at this point there's almost no turning back. As you can see, there was a little bit of wind today. From time to time I have to pause to wait for the wind to go, but it's carrying my stream straight left. So it was pretty hard to get even coverage on some of the areas. I think the biggest thing that I learned was having the discipline and understanding that you can't cover the whole frame in the first coat. I went a little heavy in some areas because I didn't know this yet, but looking back, if I were to do this again, I would have been a little bit more patient on the first coat. Here's the close-up, and you can see some of the spots where the paint was a little bit heavy. Part of that was wind, the other part was me not really understanding how to lay the first coat. But as you can see, there's still a lot of coverage to go, so more coats to come. And so through the magic of video editing, we're gonna teleport forward a couple coats. This right here is basically the final coat, and as you can see, the frame is way darker. I had to move the frame a couple of times just to kind of work with the wind, but pretty much the whole frame is covered and we're nearly there. We are reaching the final stretch. Finally. Had a bit of a quick disaster there for a little bit. Ran out of paint. Had to go try to find the paint. Went to 3 different stores. They didn't have the paint. So disaster averted though. We got all the paint on. Almost time for the clear coat. Before I lay the clear coat, I'm just going to show you a couple cinematic B-roll shots of the paint in the sun since it's golden hour, and just appreciate the paint work. I will say I have a way new appreciation for painters. This stuff is no joke and it's so hard to get just right, but I'm pretty happy with the result. Could have been better in some areas, but I'm sure it'll all work out. And now it's time for the finishing touch. Right here I went with a 1K clear coat. Essentially it has a singular component in it. You can spend more money and get a 2K clear coat, but at the end of the day we're using a rattle can clear coat and it's really not that big of a difference. The main reason I went with this clear coat is because of the pearl gloss finish that it adds. I think on top of the metallic flake with the copper and just adding this nice gloss pearl metallic flake on top of everything is really gonna set the paint apart. It's been a long day. Clear coat is laid, paint's laid, everything is done. I'm freaking stoked with the final result. Look at that thing. I mean, look at that head tube, man. That thing is insane. So hyped on it. Just gotta let it dry and then we can do the rest of the project. And we are back. From the last video that you saw, it has now been 2 days. The clear coat is cured, and I think it is finally the time for me to tell you guys about what the surprise is. So at the end of episode 1, I showed you guys my old sprint bike, and I told you all of those parts were coming from that bike and going to be put on the new bike. So basically we were looking at a purple themed bike. Well, the first surprise is this right here. Basically all the parts to build a completely brand new bike. We're talking seat post, we're talking seat, carbon bars, brake cable, brake kit, new forks, seat clamp, headset, all kinds of stuff. So, oh, and a new stem too. So all new parts, but that isn't the only surprise. A fresh set of the new Speedline Killer Buzz hubs, laced up to some Alienation hoops, brand new hubs, brand new wheel set, brand new forks, brand new everything. But there's still one more surprise. And this one was probably the hardest piece of the puzzle to get. Somehow I found a way to find them. Brand new decal set. This is a stasis decal kit. And tell me, there's literally no color that would match the frame color better than this. This is gonna be so fire. I will be completely honest though, I'm actually really nervous to put these decals on, because unlike the paint, if I mess up the decals, I can't sand it, I can't fix it. I don't think I could even find another decal kit. It was already hard enough to find that one. But for now, I'm gonna focus and do my best work because I really don't wanna mess this part up. Project is complete. Check that thing out. I didn't want to take videos of this. It was pretty stressful, and I'm happy that I wasn't trying to mess around with the camera. But yeah, I just had to make sure that I got good application of the stickers, and I just wanted to make sure that I got everything lined up and that it was even. I'm super hyped with the result. I think it looks really good, this purple and orange contrast. And now the last thing to do is to get this thing built up. Man, I'm so excited. The decals are on, the bike is put together, the project's finally finished. I'm stoked, and I hope you guys like what you see. And so what started off as a cheap Facebook Marketplace find has turned into this. Okay, so before I close this thing out, I want to give a big thank you to the people over at Speedline, Supercross, and of course Bill Ryan for supporting this build and basically making this whole thing possible. Without them, I wouldn't have had all the sweet parts and everything that went into this build. And I also want to give a big thank you to Chad Hill. He helped with some shipping issues that I had and just sent me a couple things that were really like the icing on the cake and just took this build to the next level. So big thank you to those guys. I hope that you all enjoyed this series half as much as I did, and thank you so much for watching this whole thing all the way through. Like always, be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this in the future, and also let us know in the comments what you think about build series like this. Until then, that's gonna have to do it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys later.